small explosive device was surgically attached by a string. The procedure was delicate and required lifting the bat's fragile skin, which was liable to tear if done incorrectly. The prepared bats were then loaded into cardboard cartons, which were parachuted from aircraft and opened at a preset altitude. There were numerous complications, however. Many of the containers did not open, or the bats did not wake up and plummeted to their deaths. Still, the bats did succeed in burning down a mock Japanese village. On the other hand, they managed to start a fire in an airplane hangar that also destroyed a visiting general's car. Perhaps for this reason, in June 1943, after more than 6,000 bats had been used for tests, the Army handed the project over to the Navy. It was renamed Project X-Ray. The Navy eventually handed off the project to the Marine Corps, which determined that the bat bombs were capable of causing tenfold the number of fires as the standard incendiary bombs being used at the time. However, when Fleet Admiral Ernest J. King learned that the bats would not be ready for deployment until mid-1945, he called off the project. Dr. Little Adams was bitter about the cancellation of his novel idea. He maintained that the bat bombs could have caused widespread damage and panic without the loss of life that resulted from the use of the atomic bomb. Laika, the astronaut dog. The first occupied spacecraft did not carry a human being or even a monkey. Instead, scientists launched man's best friend. The space age officially began on October 4th, 1957, when the Soviet Union launched humanity's first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1. The world sat stunned, and the space race experienced its first victory. Even more astounding was the launch of Sputnik 2 on November 3rd. Sputnik 2 carried the first living creature into orbit, a mongrel dog from the streets of Moscow named Laika. A space-worthy dog. A 3-year-old stray that weighed just 13 pounds, Laika had a calm disposition and slight stature that made her a perfect fit for the cramped Sputnik 2 capsule. In the weeks leading up to the launch, Laika was confined to increasingly smaller cages and was fed a diet of nutritional gel to prepare her for the journey. Sputnik 2 was a 250-pound satellite also ignited a debate in the West regarding the treatment of animals. Initial reports suggested that Laika survived a week in orbit, but it was revealed many years later that she only survived for roughly the first 5 hours. The hastily built craft's life support system failed, and Laika perished from excess heat. Despite her tragic end, the heroic little dog paved the way for occupied spaceflight. Why are skunks so stinky? Oh, you smell like a bed of roses. But seriously, skunks have earned their odoriferous reputation through their marvelous ability to make other things stink to high heaven. All 11 species of skunk have stinky spray housed in their anal glands. However, as dog owners can attest, skunks aren't the only animals to have anal glands filled with terrible smelling substances. Opossums are particularly bad stinkers. An opossum will empty its glands when playing dead to help it smell like a rotting corpse. While no animal's anal glands are remotely fragrant, skunks pack an especially pungent stench. This is because skunks use their spray as a defense mechanism, and they have amazing range. Skunks have strong muscles surrounding the glands, which allow them to spray 16 feet or more on a good day. A skunk doesn't want to stink up the place. It does everything in its power to warn predators before it douses its target with eau de skunk. A skunk will jump up and down, stomp its feet, hiss, and lift its tail in the air, all in the hope that the predator will realize that it is dealing with a skunk and will then go away. A skunk only does what it does best when it feels it has no choice. Only then does it release the nauseating mix of thiols, chemicals that contain super stinky sulfur, which makes whatever it is undateable for the foreseeable future. Skunks have enough stink juice stored up for about 5 or 6 sprays. After they empty their glands, it takes up to 10 days to replenish the supply. Being sprayed by a skunk is an extremely unpleasant experience. Besides the smell, the spray from a skunk can cause nausea and temporary blindness. Bobcats, foxes, musculoskeletal systems. A cat's backbone is like a universal joint. It has 30 vertebrae, 5 more than a human, and no collarbone. This is why cats are so agile. With this freedom of movement, a cat can instantly bend and rotate like a pretzel to land on its feet. If a cat falls from more than 1 or 2 stories, it likely will sustain severe or fatal injuries, even if it can right itself. Its legs and feet simply cannot absorb all the shock. That said, in the study in the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association, it was revealed. Something very surprising was revealed. Of the 132 high-rise cats that veterinarians examined, those that fell from above 7 stories had a better chance of escaping injury. It seems that after plummeting 5 stories or so, cats reach a non-fatal terminal falling velocity. At this point, they are able to relax their muscles and spread their bodies out like feline parachutes or flying squirrels. And they arch their backs just before hitting bottom, reducing the force of the impact. Just how far can a cat fall without being killed? The longest non-fatal fall on record is 42 floors. How long would it take a school of piranha to polish off a cow? Are stories of this predator's ravenous appetite to be believed? First, consider a few factors. How large is the cow? More important, how many fish are there, and how hungry are they? Like sharks, piranhas are drawn to blood. They're killers from the moment they are born. And it's true, a pack of piranhas can indeed strip the flesh from a much larger animal, such as a cow. The estimated time it would take a school of piranhas to skeletonize a cow varies. Some sources claim it would take less than a minute. Others say up to 5 minutes. But marine biologists call these estimates exaggerations. The piranha has a fearsome, tooth-filled grin, but under normal circumstances, it is not considered overly aggressive. In the United States, the legend of the piranha began with Theodore Roosevelt's 1913 trip to South America. He returned full of stories, many of which concerned the carnivorous fish. It is thought that the Brazilian tour guides who were charged with showing President Roosevelt a good time had a joke at his expense by making piranhas out to be more dangerous than they are. There was an incident in which a cow was lowered into a branch of the Rio Aripuana that was teeming with piranhas, and the outcome was every bit as grisly as legend says. But some vital facts were left out of the story. For one, the cow was sick and bleeding, which spurred the fish into a frenzy. Furthermore, the piranhas were isolated, hungry, and ornery. They saw a meal and went nuts, and we've been talking about it ever since. Modern jungle dwellers don't usually small and singular. Little flesh is lost, little harm done. The fish and the humans go their separate ways. Of course, this isn't to say that piranhas lack the capacity to wreak havoc. Piranhas are known to be most vicious during the dry season. They are believed to travel in large schools for the purpose of protection, and they stimulate one another at feeding time. In light of this information, there are instances when you don't want to get anywhere near a piranha. If you have an open wound, for instance, it might be a good idea to forego that afternoon dip in the Rio Aripuana. Freaky facts. Platypus. With aspects of a bird, a reptile, a mammal, the Australian platypus is one of nature's oddest animals. Male platypuses secrete poison from the spurs on their hind feet. The venom wouldn't kill a human adult, but it can cause severe pain and swelling. The platypus's hair makes it effectively waterproof with a dense, insulating undercoat similar to that of a Labrador retriever. While underwater, the platypus shuts its eyes, ears, and nostrils and uses an electroreceptor system in its sensitive, duck-like bill to navigate and hunt. The platypus's fatty, beaver-like tail is used for energy storage, much like a camel's hump. When food runs short, the animal survives on the stored fat. The platypus isn't noisy, but when disturbed, it may give a call that sounds like a frog-throated puppy growl. Platypus eggs are rubbery or leathery, like turtle eggs, and are about the size of gumballs. Females generally lay only 2 or 3 eggs during the annual mating season, which occurs between June and October. What eats sharks? One of the most feared animals in the world, the shark has a reputation for being a people killer, ruthlessly nibbling on a leg or an arm just to see how it tastes. In the shark versus people debate, guess who loses? Yup, sharks. We eat way more of them than they do of us, and we aren't the only ones partaking in their sharkliciousness. For the most part, the big predator sharks are in a pretty cushy position ecologically. As apex predators, they get to do the eating without all that pesky struggle to keep from being eaten. They are important to the ecosystem because they keep everything below them in check, so there are no detrimental population booms. For example, sharks eat sea lions, which eat mollusks. If no one ate sea lions, they'd thrive and eat all the mollusks. So if sharks are apex predators, so are humans. By the way, they aren't ever eaten, right? Wrong. Sometimes a shark gets a hankering for an extra special treat. Another shark. Tiger sharks start eating other sharks in the womb. Embryonic tiger sharks will eat their less developed brothers and sisters. This practice of eating fellow tiger sharks continues through adulthood, and great white sharks have been found with 4 to 7 feet long sharks in their stomachs, eaten We hope to see you again soon, friends.